Good morning, everyone. I hope the start of your weekend is going well. It's a beautiful sunny morning here on the Central Coast, so I'm just lapping up that sun. It's just beautiful. I just wanted to show you, I've been having lots of fun creating these little folios to gift away to people. So what they are is just a very simple sheet of card. You could use scrapbooking paper, like a sheet of 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper. And then I've made 4 simple cards to go in it with the four envelopes. So what I wanted to do today is just show you very simply how to make the folio and how to make these cards. So they're the cards. So I'm going to do a different colour and use different stamps, but just to show you that you can use any stamps. You can use the stamps that I've got here, and I'd be very appreciated if you bought stamps and you wanted to shop with me. That would be great. And then I've just decorated the envelopes with similar stamping that I've done on the cards. So I'll just show you how I've made all of this, and I'll give you the details of how you can get the real instructions, like the nitty-gritty instructions. So that was that one. So that was a female version, and then with the cogs, because I'm loving the cogs bundle, I've made this one as well. So there, and these are the this is an envelope I've made with all the little scrap bits that I've cut off. So I've just done this mosaic type thing on the envelope, and here on this envelope, here's some more strips that I've had leftover bits and pieces. So yeah, so they're the 4 more male type cards and colours. So that's that little one. So with this one, I've used, on that you could see, I've used the Words of Beauty. So I find this such a versatile stamp and die set. And you've got all these different combinations that you can come up with. So they're a great set. If you're looking for some sentiments, they're a great set to have. And I'm going to be using Nature's Symphony as well, and some of the retired stamps. So, never forget your retired stamps. They're always so good. So I've just got an A4 sheet here. So we're just going to start off with the A4 sheet, and basically we're going to cut it in 4 to create the 4 cards. So I'm going to be using Old Olive and Pretty Peacock, and we're just going to blend colour on. Now, because we're going to be doing a lot of stamping over the top of it, it really doesn't matter about your blending. So a lot of times you might see when people are demonstrating that they'll tap on. Now, I always suggest tapping on the ink pads rather than rubbing, because I worry that constantly rubbing, you're going to wear the foam pad out. So if you tap, it's much better, much gentler on your ink pad. So just tap. Now, if you've got your ink pad heavily inked, then when you put the first dab down, you're going to get quite a marked circle. So a lot of people will tap down first to tap off that excess ink and then start blending on. Because this is a bit of a mishmash look, I don't really care if I get a few extra dobs. And if anybody knows me, I really do hate waste. So to me, dabbing ink off is a bit of a waste. You know, it's totally up to you for the look that you get. But if you can just see, I'm just slapping the colour on. I'm not being too careful about how I do this. Now, of course, when you want that nice smooth blend, then of course you're going to tap off. You're also going to come on very gently and build up the colour, so you get that more smooth blend, okay? But like I said, I'm just after getting colour on. So that was the old olive. This is the pretty peacock. So again, we're just going to dab down and just fill in the gaps, basically. So again, with blending, the harder you press down on the head of your blending brush, the more colour you're going to get on. So the lighter you press, oops, I think I just knocked the camera then. Sorry about that, guys. You probably just felt like you were in an earthquake then. But all good, no earthquakes here. So you can see that's pretty splodgy. Now, I could keep going and try and smooth some of those splodges out, but I'm not going to bother. I am going to add a bit more green though, just to see if I can get a little bit more blending of the green and the blue together. But remembering not to go too dark, because you want to be able to see your stamped images over the top. Okay. So just, you get it as much as you want. And of course now I've got to chuck a bit more of the blue on, just to blend. And you can blend over the colour if you want one colour to stand out a little bit more than the other. Okay, I think that's enough. Otherwise, I'm going to get too carried away and it's going to be too dark. So that's my splodgy old blend where I haven't cared about it, okay? It doesn't matter. So please, you know, I think sometimes we get a bit too precious when we're crafting. And I really believe that it's all about playing when we're crafting. We don't have to be precise all the time. Yes, it's nice to be precise, but just enjoy the play. Enjoy that creativity. Now, I'm going to start with a bit of text in the background. And I just want this because the stamps that I'm using, so the stamps I'm using are very liney. They're quite delicate is the word that I'm looking for. So I don't want this script to be in your face. So I'm just going to ink it up, but then stamp it off and then stamp. And remembering that I might want to use this as cards that are portrait and cards that are landscape. So I'm going to put some script on horizontally and some script on vertically. So basically I'm just randomly stamping around the place. And I think I forgot to stamp that one off. But look, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to really matter. And remembering to stamp some off your page as well. And I think I might just do one more. And remembering too that you can go back. So if when you cut your cards down, you're not happy with everything is, you can add more once it's all cut down. But this is just to quickly get the background for 4 cards. So I tend to use the biggest stamps first. So we're going to get our butterfly on and we're going to do what I call collage stamping. So you're going to touch down where you've stamped previously. So you're not going to have any big floating things. You want to have clusters of stamped images. So I think that's looking good already. And try and make your butterflies so that they're all going in different directions. You want it a little bit random if you can get it. And then I think maybe one more just up here. Okay, so I've got the big butterflies on. Now I'm going to bring the branch on from the Nature Symphony. I have used this stamp so much. I just love it. So I'm just going to tap on our ink, and then we're going to add, and I'm going to do first and second generation. Okay, you can see that. So the first generation, because I've just recently inked up the ink pad, and that's the thing with these beautiful ink pads, is that when you ink them up, they're going to give you a really dark colour to begin with, and then you'll get, as it dries out, you'll get a paler version. So just remembering when you're blending that, you know, have you just recently inked up, because then you need to be aware that you've just inked up recently and it's going to be dark. So just take it a little bit gently. Okay, so there's a nice patch there. So you can see with this, I've kind of left the stem off. I don't want this branch to be in mid-air. I want it coming from around the side of the page. So when I've cut it down, I might find I need to do a little bit more stamping of the leaves up in this area. But I don't want to stamp here, because then you're just going to have this branch sitting in mid-air. So we'll just come around here. And a nice little gentle one over the butterfly. Okay, so you can see how that's coming together. I quite like that. I do love the old olive and the pretty peacock together. I think it's just such a lovely combination. Now I've got these little butterflies and I've got this single butterfly. So I'm going to put, even though the butterflies are smaller, I'm actually going to put these on first, because the stamped area is actually bigger. So we'll hit them with a bit of the black ink as well, and just again randomly pop them in. How sweet are they? I think this little bunch of butterflies is one of my all-time favorites. Now see here, I haven't actually attached these butterflies to anything, but they look okay just out on their own. So that's the thing, is think about, you know, how, you know, what's pleasing to your eye. I think that's what creating is all about. It's not what's pleasing to anybody else's eye, it's what's pleasing to you. But in thinking about that, if we're creating for somebody, like if we're creating a gift for somebody, this is where, you know, paper craft is a wonderful thing, because we can change it to what they like. Like if they're butterfly lovers, well, how beautiful would this be to give this little gift to them? If they love blue and green together, how good would this be? You know, if they love purples, then you create something with purples. It might not be your cup of tea, but it's for the person that you're creating for. So we can gift them something, we can show them how much we care by making something for them that really resonates with them. Now, I'm missing a little bit in the middle there, but that's all right. I'm thinking that's okay. Do I have enough butterflies on there? Oh, look, like I said, I do love little butterflies, so we'll just chuck a few more on. And I am going to put this medium butterfly in there as well. So I'll just pop a few of him in. And I'm going to stick one just there. And maybe just down in here too. Oh, can't see him. Okay, we'll just stick a little bit there. Okay, I think I'm happy. And like I said before, if I feel that I need a little bit of extra stamping, then I can do that when I'm finished. So now we're just basically going to cut this down. Now, what I do, oops, sorry, there's the earthquake again. And I'm sorry, that would probably be quite triggering for some people, so I'm really sorry about that. But yes. So I'm just going to cut it to 10.5. So that's directly in half that way. Oops. Oh, I didn't press down hard enough, did I? 10.5 centimetres that is. There we go. I've got that now. And then I'm going to turn it and do it at 14, oh, I think 50, because I think 15. So I think it was 30 long. Doesn't really matter, but it's just to basically get it into 4 pieces. 4 kind of even pieces. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay. So I've got my 4 pieces here. So 1, 2, so that was going to go that way. That'll go, when you turn it, yep, it looks nicer that way. So I'll just pop a little pile there of the way that I want them to be. And that, yep, that's going to go that way. Yeah, no, that way. And this one, I've got one butterfly going. Yep, so this might be, I know, that way. That way looks the best. So just turn it and think, you know, which way, yeah, I think that way. Okay, so now I'm going to trim them down. And when I make cards, I do prefer to have like a larger white border. I like that frame around it. I'm not fussed on cards that come right to the edge. Also, with cards that don't come right to the edge, there's that little bit of leeway that you have if you haven't cut it exactly. So I'm going to cut these down so they've got a bit of a border on them. And so then look at what you want to cut off. Now, I like this bit of tree here. So this is your opportunity to cut down an area or get rid of an area that you maybe don't quite like. So I'm thinking, I like this little bit of negative space here. I quite like this. But if I'd made a mistake here, then I could trim off this side. But I quite like this bit here, how it's even sort of framing it. And you could, after you've cut these down, you could blend a little bit of extra colour around. I find that I'm not doing that. Now we've got this, so looking at it here, we've got these 2 little bits here. Now if I cut that off, I'm going to be missing some of that. But I've got a lot of this tree up here, so I can cut a little bit of that off. I'm thinking that way. I'll trim down. Okay, so that's what I've got there. So these are the little bits that I was talking about that I then went and made the envelopes from. You could also put them in the card, so just have a little border inside the card as a little decoration for inside your card. I'm going to just cut down this one because this is the one I'm going to have in landscape, and there, yep, so that's Alright, so I like, yep, I'm going to cut that down to 13.8. Oh, no, this one I'm going to cut a little bit off one end and no, actually, I'm going to cut a little bit off that end and I'm going to cut a little bit off this end. There we go. Okay. Oh, and I forgot the little dots. So I also had the little dots from the butterfly set. So I can just add a few little green dots around. Okay. Now I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think I need to add anything more. So that will just go on a card base. And then I've got the because. And then I've got here, this is from these ones that I was saying, the words of beauty. So then I can just, I don't think I cut that down the other way, did I? No. I forgot to cut it down. Now, I'm going to take it off. Again, I'm going to go a little bit off the bottom because I want to keep that little butterfly there, and I want to keep that little butterfly up the top there. So I'm just going to go a little bit. That's it. Okay. So that's my piece. I'm happy with that. I think that looks quite pretty. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is pop that on a card, on a white base card. I'm going to stamp my little sentiment. And these little dies come with it, come with that stamp set, Words of Beauty. And we just stamp that up. I hope I've middled it because I'm stamping off on an angle here. Yeah, that looks good. So then that's just going to go there. And the because is just going to get popped on there like that. So complete. Okay. Well, not complete because it's not on the card. So if we turn this one over, that's what it'll look like. So that white border, I think, just really makes it pop. If you have it just sitting there, I think if that was the whole card, but when you put it on and give it a white border, it just makes it pop. So that's that. You could add a few little gems to it, but I just wanted to keep them simple. This is, you know, something that you can, you know, not have a huge cost in it. Now, I thought I'd just quickly show you how to make the little folio as well. So what you're going to do is pop your piece in. And it's at 3 inches. So remembering not to use your cutting blade, so we'll pop that down there. So you're just going to use your scoring blade. And then we turn it. And we turn it back the other way. And do the same amount. Okay, then when you're folding, just make sure you fold both ways. So on each of the score lines, just fold it backwards and forwards. just give it a good fold backwards and forwards. And of course I've got inky fingers, so I've got ink everywhere, and this is where your bone scorer is really good for helping to really get those creases in place. So once you've given it a good fold, just give it a nice score down with your bone scorer. Oh, I really do have ink all over my fingers. That way. Okay. Again, it shows it's handmade, doesn't it? Where there's little splotches of ink everywhere. Then all you're going to do is put tape here and here and here, and then that just creates your pockets. It's one of my hairs. There we go. And try to keep it fair. That's probably a little bit away from the edge, but try and keep it fairly close to the edge when you put your tape on. Then that's just taken off. That's it. And then that's your little folio. Okay, then you can decorate it with pattern paper. You can decorate it with your, you can cut down a bit more white card and have the same decoration like I've had on my cards, and I've just decorated the little flaps. If you were wanting to though, or if you were wanting to use up cards that you've already created, this is a great little folio that you can gift cards that you've already created away with too. So just popping some ribbon. So I've popped ribbon all the way around and then just put the panel over the top. So happy creating. I hope you did enjoy that. If you would like more details, then I'm happy to give you the details free of charge when you place a $50 order with me, Lucy Jones. That's one of the ways that you can get the full instructions for, well, a video instruction for free. Okay, take care. Happy crafting. I hope you've enjoyed this, and please give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, or follow my Facebook page, Create with Lucy. Okay, take care. Have a wonderful day, and we shall see you another time. Okay, bye. Happy crafting.